You are always your children's mom. I'm going to go back to the core of this conversation. You are never not their mom. The way we mom our children grows, evolves, and shifts. The way they need us in their lives grows and shifts, and it's supposed to be that way. So when you're feeling as if they don't need me anymore, stop and say, why am I feeling that way? Get curious about it and understand that your kids don't know what they don't know. They will always need you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Midlife with Courage. This is where women in midlife come for inspiration, motivation, and sometimes a little education to help them flourish after 40. Today, I have a beautiful guest with me. Her name is Jodi Silverman. Welcome to the podcast, Jodi.
Hi, Kim. Thank you for having me. I love this whole midlife with courage.
I'm just so excited to talk to you. Introduce yourself. Tell us where in the world you are and what you do.
All right. So my name is Jodi Silverman. I live outside of Philadelphia, which is
Uh-oh.
actually a thing. Like we say we're from Philly. Well, we're in Philly. Well, outside of Philly. It's like a saying.
Okay.
I'm born and raised really right around the area that I live. I am married to my husband of 33 years almost, and I have two grown adult children out in the world. My daughter is 30, my son is 26. And you know what? It's become my passion, my mission, and the most fulfilling thing I've ever done is supporting women, midlife women and moms alike, as they navigate this next chapter and all the transitions, whether it's empty nest, whether it's caring for our aging parents, whether it's but it's all grounded in rediscovering our purpose.
Mhm.
And I do everything I do with a little bit of fun. I use the word dare on, daring meaning stepping out of your comfort zone. So that's what I do. I support women through, I actually have a podcast like you do, through a community and through motivational speaking.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh, so much that we can talk to. I feel like we've already connected just talking to you
Yeah.
over the over Zoom already. Let's talk a little bit about your story by sharing a time when you felt courageous or you showed courage.
All right. And like I've heard many of your guests say, there's many times if I look back, the first thing that comes to mind, because I knew you were asking me this question, but the first thing that really does come to mind is it was back, I think it was like 2012, 2013. It was when I had that moment, and I've shared this story a lot. I was in a quiet space and I allowed myself to ask myself what I would consider a courageous question. I thought, so my daughter's graduating from high school. My son is right behind her. I'm going to have all this space in my life. Is what I'm doing enough? And that was a really courageous moment to answer no, because I had my own business. It was good. I gave me flexibility. And yet that led to the number one courageous thing that I think I did was answer that question, but then said yes to another business opportunity that I felt was really scary because it was in the network marketing, multi-level marketing space, one of those, things, the pyramid things people tell you not to do. And that was really scary for me
Ah.
because I knew nothing about it other than you don't want to do one of those things. So to me, that was one of the most courageous decisions I ever did was say yes to that business because it's the reason I'm sitting here talking to you, doing the work that I'm doing today, Kim.
Oh my gosh, that's another thing that we have in common because I did the direct sales MLM and I didn't when I started it, I wasn't didn't really hear those negative pyramid, as much as I did afterwards, but you're right. Like it gave me the courage to here I am doing this podcast and I'm talking to, women like you from everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's amazing. It's like, don't knock those MLMs until you
No,
try
it's a
it.
wonderful world of personal growth and development that opens up to you. You're surrounded by
Yeah.
all people who only are looking to improve and grow and learn, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, wonderful. So the empty nest, we hear that all the time. And something that kind of sticks out to me is that you were just talking about when your kids were still in high school, they were still at home and you were thinking about it.
Yeah.
So that is to me that's a little bit unique because most of the times I hear, well, they're gone now, what do I do?
Oh yeah, we're gone now. Now what? Like,
Yeah.
so, I think it's really important. And for those of you that didn't think about it earlier and you're in that empty nest and you're feeling lost, don't worry. It's not too late for you to discover new meaning, purpose, and fun. And yet, I will say that I truly believe the empty nest started for me, that feeling of loss, that feeling of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now? When my kids got their driver's license in high school. I think
Ah,
that's a big pivotal. First of all, I think it starts as they enter high school because high school is, at least it is around here where I live, the first time for a mom where you're not invited into the classroom.
mm-hmm.
You're pushed out a little bit from your children. They really need to find their independence, but the school does not invite you into the classrooms. There is no such thing as a room mom. There is a PTO, but you're planning the post prom, you're planning the fundraisers, but you're not doing it in the class with your children, and your children don't want their mother in their class in high school. But I really do believe that if we can take time to pause, you'll realize that when my children got their driver's license, a whole afternoon and early evening opened up for me. I didn't have to drive to and from practices if they were in the play or if they were basketball, gave them the keys, they were able to do it themselves. Their friends, they started driving and picking up themselves from their friends on the weekends, drive themselves to the movies if they went to the movies. And that's when it really hit me like, wow, I have this time and space. What am I going to do with it? And so I really do believe that if any mom is out there, whether your kids are in elementary school, middle school, or high school, start considering what are some things that you want to do for you. Make space for you. It's hard. It's hard for moms, right? Can
Oh,
we
yeah.
we're available for our kids 24/7 and it's hard to let that go. And yet it's so important to carve out, even if it's 20 minutes a day to read a book, because you just want to do that for yourself.
Hmm.
But yes, it was high school that I realized because they needed to push me away a little bit. They needed to have the independence, and they think back of when you got your driver's license. Oh my God, it was the coolest thing. I was
Yeah.
totally independent from my parents. And that's a special time. It's an exciting,
Yeah.
special time for our kids. And it's a special and exciting time for us too. Reframe it. You're not losing anything, you're gaining this special time. So what are you going to do with it?
Yeah. I remember the first time I got to drive by myself, I was terrified. Like, wait a
Me
minute.
too.
Where's mom? Where's dad? Wait, oh, it's just me. Okay. But
It's
that
weird.
I got over it pretty quick. Pretty quick.
Yeah, but it's a weird feeling. It's
Yeah,
strange.
it
It's
is.
just
It is. Yeah. And then when my kids started driving, at first I was like, oh my gosh, it's so scary. But then it became very convenient.
right.
Oh, could you go to the store? Oh yeah, yeah. What do you need? That kind of thing.
Ah,
Yeah.
on your way back from basketball, can you pick up the milk, the eggs? Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, sure, mom.
You have a new errand helper in the
Exactly.
house.
Yeah. Didn't last very long, but it was nice while we had it. But yeah,
Right.
I love that you say to reframe that empty nest time. And I think that's really important. I don't think the episode has come out as we have just our recording, but I have had one lady tell me she thought of it, she was thinking about it as empty nest, but then she kind of changed it to think about open. Your
Yeah.
life is more open now. It's not empty, it's
Yeah.
open. I think I thought that was a great way to put it.
I think however it works for you. I've heard people say, free bird, whatever the reframe is for you. I have no problem with calling it the empty nest.
Yeah.
Although I do agree the nest isn't empty. I'm still here.
Right.
My husband is still with me. It's a little more open. I kind of like the open. The reframing is not to say don't feel sad. It's not for me to tell you other moms how to feel. We're all gonna feel the feelings that we have. I did an episode on my show Beyond Empty Nest called Empty Nest Grief. It's real.
Mm,
Because it is real and it affects everybody different. I was sad that my daughter was not going to be home, and I was really excited to have more time to
sure.
devote to a business that I wanted to do, or to hobbies, or to tennis, which I love tennis. Maybe I could play tennis during the week. My son was still home. So I
Hmm.
was kind of excited to create a new routine and normal with him and have him alone because when one child leaves, the dynamics and the personality of the house changes too. So it's not to negate how you feel. You feel the way you feel. I always say it's a yes and. If anybody out there, have you ever done improv, taken an improv class or studied improvisational comedy at all, Kim?
No, but I would love to.
Okay. It's wonderful. It's a dare. There, I'm going to dare you
There
to
we go.
check
Oh,
see if there's a local improv, even if you just go watch a show.
yeah.
Number one tenet of improv is yes and.
Ah,
So I always say, don't be the yes but person. Yes, my kids are, yes, I want to do something new, but yes, but because but will stop you
yeah.
getting the facts. So you'll hear me say and all the time. Emptiness is a loss and it's an opportunity for all.
Hmm.
For all. So, yes, feel the sadness, just don't stay there too long and figure out, okay, what can I do with this newfound time? And I'm telling you, Kim, even if it's something as simple as, okay, you don't have to get all your errands and shopping and all your little errands and going to the pharmacy and going to the dry cleaners and doing all that busy stuff all before 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon now.
Oh, right.
You can now do it at night.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And the
It's like,
mall's a really empty, fun place to go to at 6 o'clock at night.
that's awesome. Yeah. It's like a whole new world opens up.
Yeah, change up your routine a little bit. That can help with the perspective. Okay, change it up because I do know that I felt a little off. I felt a little antsy,
Hmm.
like fidgety during the hours of like 4 and 7 because my husband doesn't really come home till 7:30 for dinner.
Hmm.
And I found myself not knowing what to do with myself. I'd be pacing a little bit. So
Uh,
I started, getting a little more creative with cooking. I like to cook. I find it therapeutic. I started going out for walks or making that a reading hour during that time, but going somewhere in my house to read, sitting on my patio or sitting in my front living room or just change up the routine a little bit. But I still get a little antsy during that time when I'm home alone. Like, what
sure.
do I do with myself? So I pick
Yeah.
up and do something.
Yeah. I love that. And yeah, so many things there. So, how did you go from, okay, I know I need to do something, this is an opportunity to reframe to now you have this dare. Look, what's dare? So
Yeah.
tell us about that journey.
Yeah. So I said yes to the MLM. And what I didn't realize was I opened the door to personal growth and development. And I was introduced to things like limiting beliefs, fear, and doubt. Prior to that life, I had a career in sales. I sold direct mail marketing and advertising. I had a very successful career, Kim. And yet, when I started to read books like Think and Grow Rich and be introduced to Brene Brown, I realized I had a lot of fear and a lot of self-doubt deep within me that I didn't realize I had, even with my successes. So we could be super successful and still have fear and doubt.
Sure.
And I started to really get curious about it. And I started to do the work. I started to learn about gratitude practice. I started to learn about self-awareness and questioning my thoughts. I came up with something called the self-talk cleanup to become aware of my thoughts. And as I was learning about myself and understanding how my fear was keeping me stuck, I went to a women's empowerment conference local to me from a local chamber, and the keynote speaker was an 8-time Emmy award-winning journalist from Philadelphia. Her name is Luann Kahn,
Mm.
and we all got a bag. If you ever go to, I went by myself. A friend was supposed to go. I went by myself, and I'm an extrovert, but still
That's
uncomfortable.
hard.
Yeah, walking into a room of 350 other women in business, and I knew I was a life coach at the time, but I didn't have a business model yet. I didn't know what it was going to be. And there I was sitting at this table with about 8 other women, and in the bag was Luann's book. And she was talking about the book, and the book is called I Dare Me, how she did something new every day for a year to get unstuck, to
Oh,
reboot and recharge her life. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm hearing this woman standing on the stage. And I swear to you, Kim, she was just talking to me. Like the room went silent. If you could imagine in a movie that everything, the background noise goes silent and it's just me and Luann. And she's talking about daring, which is doing something for the first time. She defined that as first time in 10 years or never doing it before, and how she was stepping out of her comfort zone. And every time she did, she would meet somebody new, experience a new feeling, release some stuckness. And she rediscovered a whole new career
hmm.
out of this, just and I'm talking about one day she decided to go out and just talk to a total stranger, give
Wow.
random compliments. She did jump out of an airplane, not going to do that,
Mm.
but that's what one dare. Zip lining, you know, going a different direction to work is a dare.
Ah,
Turn off the GPS and just go a different direction or just blindly follow your GPS. So she has in the back of her book 365 dares, learning to do a hula hoop again. I mean,
wow.
a lot of different dares. And I sat there and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I've been doing that. I've been uncomfortable and scared, but excited and having fun at the same time because I had been stepping out of my comfort zone. I had been pushing myself. And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm a mom who dares. And all of a sudden, it like just the light bulb went off. I'm like, that's what the community is. It's a moms who dare. I always wanted to be a life coach for a community.
Hmm.
I ran home, created a Facebook group called Moms Who Dare. And I just started sharing it with my friends and other people. And I would post something. Who has anybody ever gone to a movie at 10:30 in the morning? Join me. Four women showed up. Does anybody want to go zip lining at the local children's zoo? Because that was about as scary as I was going to make it.
That's pretty
And
good.
9 women showed up to that event. And as it started to happen, and I would put more things, I escape the room, just go out to dinner, go out for a nature walk in a local park. I realized that that was the business model. So daring became the platform, which is just a fun, playful word
Mm-hmm.
to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. And then dare on became my life overarching mantra for everything I do. And dare on, I even have it tattooed on my wrist.
Love
Never
it.
say never. I am not a tattoo kind of girl, but I guess I am now.
Ah,
So everything I share, everything I do, whether it's cleaning up your self-talk, daring to clean up your self-talk, dare through doubt. Daring on is about daring through the life transitions. And Moms Who Dare became my community. And I have a membership spinoff where there's about 30 some women where we do it's a hybrid, virtual and in person, and that's more deep but it's more deep with connection, personal growth, and experiences in the membership. But the Facebook group is a great entrance.
yeah.
That's how it all came to be. And it was because I was stepping out of my comfort zone and I was trying new things and I was meeting new people. That world of multi-level marketing opened up the door to life coaching to me because they brought the women leaders together and brought in a life coach to work with us. I didn't know what life coaching was. And it was in that room I thought, oh, maybe I should learn the skills of a life coach. It could help me in my leadership. And yet it led me here. So somebody in one of the fellow top women leaders in the company and I were talking one day, and she said it beautifully. MLM, if you allow it, can be the springboard to what's coming next in your life. And you have no idea what that is. I have no idea. In my life, did I think I'd become a life coach, have a community, a podcast, and be a public speaker? No, that was not
Wow.
anything I considered. It was all as a result of asking that courageous question, which opened up the door to saying yes to an opportunity. And here we are.
Yeah.
And daring has just become my platform, and I love it. It's
I
fun.
do too, Jody.
Yeah,
I,
it's
I,
fun.
yeah, it's our turn to have fun now, right? You
I,
know?
I, s- I say just those words that you just said. I think it's on my website. I know I've said it. I say we are raising, Kim, we are raising our kids to go out in the world, brave new experiences, meet new people, and grow. It's
Mhm.
our turn to do the same thing. Let's do the
Exactly.
same thing as our kids.
Yeah. Why
Number
not?
one, it's fun. You'll discover something new about yourself. You'll meet new people. And by the way, your kids, you're going to be so much more interesting to your adult children because now you're learning new things with them.
Right, right. Oh my gosh, Jody, that's amazing. One thing you said that has come up for me and with interactions with other people is getting curious.
Mm.
So when you're kind of looking for, maybe you're not even looking, you don't realize it, but to me, sometimes it's, well, something will pop into my head and I've learned to, instead of ignoring it, I say, I wonder why that came into my mind.
Yep. I wonder, dot, dot, dot. I love
Yeah.
it. I learned about curiosity from a really, really close friend of mine who I met during the last 10, 12 years of my journey.
Mhm.
She has a company called Courage to be Curious. And
Oh,
yeah, I love that one. Yeah, we could talk about her. I never viewed myself as a curious person.
hmm.
She taught me about the art of asking questions and getting curious. And now, and that is the key to really living a life of confidence and fulfillment and fun. I always have to throw fun in there because you have to have some fun.
Hmm.
It is self-awareness. And the only way to be aware of how you feel, what you do, what makes you tick, what makes you not tick, what gets you excited, what makes you upset, is to get curious about what you're feeling. So I do the same thing instead of ignoring, like if I, here's a good example with adult children. It's not easy to shift from being a mom 24/7 in your child's life, fixing everything and, being having the answer to everything to being a mom of adults where you really should. I never use the word should. I don't use it often, but we should not be fixing everything for them. We have
Right.
to go from the fixer to the coach. And it's a hard thing. And it's also, I don't talk to my kids every day.
Mm.
And they have a life, they have careers. They're living married lives with well, my daughter's with her fiance, but for 5 years they've been living together. My son lives with his girlfriend. And so they go to work, they come home, and if they have to call everybody they have to call, then they're not having a conversation with that person. And sometimes a week will go by and I won't hear from my son or I won't hear from my daughter. And this is a really good example of getting curious. I was like, what's wrong with him? Why hasn't he called me? I'm his mother. How does he not call me all week? And I was getting angry. And I'm like, the old Jody 10 years ago would have texted him, like, hey, do you think we could talk this week with emojis? And
Yeah.
the evolved Jody today said, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why am I angry? I'm not angry. I miss him. I miss
Right.
him. What is this about? I wonder what am I really feeling? I'm feeling I miss my son.
Sure.
I miss him. And so maybe he's been busy. And I know this. I know what's true about my son is that when he comes home, as much as he probably does want to call and say hi, he also just doesn't want to talk. I felt that way.
Hmm.
So when I finally paused and I said, well, like, what am I really feeling here? I'm like, what it is, I miss him. So tell him you miss him. So I text him. I say, hey, I hope you had a good week. I would love to talk to you. Miss hearing what's going on. If you have some time, let me know. And he's like, oh, I can call you later. I'm like, okay, what time? He's 7. I go, you want me to call you? He's like, sure. I said, I'll call you at 7. And we had a great conversation. But
Yeah.
how different would that have been if I had sent him angry emojis like, hello, call your mother,
Yeah.
exclamation, exclamation. Like
Yeah.
who would you want to call your mom if she yelled at you for not calling her?
No, absolutely not.
But I like what you said. It's like getting curious about why we're thinking. Like, I wonder why I'm
Yeah.
feeling scared right now. Why am I feeling scared?
Yeah,
And
exactly. It just reframes it in your mind and it makes it better. You'll
yeah,
feel
it's
better. It
courage
works
to
with
be.
husbands too. I know we're talking about kids on this episode, but my husband retired 2 years ago now. And so there's, of course, been things that kind of drive me crazy. But then I started thinking, I wonder why he's, needing to tell me what he's going to do every day, or why is he doing this? And then once I start thinking about it that way, I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah.
Well,
So,
it's like, it's like what we learn is we can either let our emotions become us, but we're not. And I recently heard, and I say this all the time, but I recently even heard Mel Robbins say this. She even said it. Instead of saying, I'm angry, say, I feel angry right now. It puts distance
oh,
between you and
yeah.
the emotion. And there was another woman that I learned that from too. Her Ann Weiser Cornell, she phrases it like something in me feels anxious. And I'm going to say hello to that. When you
Oh,
can say, the difference, say it like, I'm anxious or I feel anxious. It's a difference. It's a big difference.
it is. It's
You don't have to
huge.
be anxious. You can say, I feel anxious and I wonder why. I feel
Yeah.
upset. I wonder why.
Yeah. Because when you say I'm anxious,
You
you
are.
just you identify yourself as I'm anxious. And
Exactly.
then
And
you're
now it's not an identity. It's a feeling you're having,
yeah.
and you're going to get curious as to why. And now you can figure out your triggers and what's really behind it. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
something I learned very early on with the self-talk. Like, I wonder why, I'm feeling, you know, why is I'm not smart popping into my head again right now? Why is that thought even
Uh,
coming into my head? That was the first thing. I have something called, here, this will help. It's an acronym for talk.
okay.
And you can use it for all what we're just talking about.
Mhm.
Take notice of a thought or a feeling, acknowledge it, which is what you and I were saying, like, don't brush off. Like, I, oh my God, I'm not smart is popping into my, I wonder why, hi, I'm not smart. Why are you here? So then that leaves to learn from it. So take notice, acknowledge it, learn from it. Why am I wonder what I was just doing, thinking, or talking about right before I started feeling or hearing the words, I'm not smart. And then knock it out, which is basically just how can you knock it out? Can you just say, I know it's not true? Can you add an affirmation? Can you find proof? Replace it with something else.
Sure.
So that's a TALK.
I love that. TALK. Yeah, I'm going to put that in the show notes too for
I
us.
can send it to you when we're done.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. So, what you said you have the Facebook group and you do public speaking. What other kinds of things do you do through your Moms Who Dare?
Well, I mean, for me personally, on a business side, I have my podcast as well.
Hmm.
It's called Beyond Empty Nest.
Okay.
Beyond Empty Nest. And but with the community, I mean, really it's grounded in connection, growth, and experiences. So for the membership specifically, but even in the Facebook group, we will have two Zooms a month. One's a simple mom's night out where we do icebreakers, we even play games. The pandemic gave us a gift of being able to play games via Zoom.
Oh, sure.
And then I bring guest speakers into both groups
Ah,
to talk about all different areas of life. We talk about boundaries. And we do fun things too. Like I just had a speaker come in and talk to us about the Chinese Lunar New Year and
oh,
the different
interesting.
elements and how the elements, if you're fire, earth, water, whatever your element, it was really a lot of fun. I'm going to bring somebody in to talk about astrology in the spring. And we talk about fear and doubt and setting boundaries and parenting adult children, all that fun stuff.
Hmm.
And that's what we do. And that's what I do through all my platforms. I do that through my public speaking. I do that through the podcast and I do it through the community. I blend it all in and we bring a lot of fun to it. I have 5 dares that are fun to boost your mood and overall well-being. So those are the kind of things that's really what I'm grounded in.
That's awesome. I'm joining up.
Yeah, come on
I'm gonna
into
get in
the
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Come
I've
on.
actually I've posted this week about taking Facebook off my phone because it's too convenient for me to keep scrolling through it. But when I do go on Facebook on my computer, it's quality time now, I
Oh,
feel.
you know what? I saw, didn't you write a blog? Did you do an episode or a blog
A
post
blog post. Yeah.
I saw that about Facebook. And you know
Yeah.
what? You're about the third person I heard that took the app off their phone
Hmm.
and just used it on the computer. I have it on my phone, but I don't have notifications on. So I don't
Yeah.
see like the little 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So
I
when I
got
go
rid of
on
that a
the
long time ago, but it's still, I would still, and then I said, oh, I'm going to remove it. Well, I thought I removed it, but I really didn't before, but now
yeah,
it's gone.
yeah.
It's
So
not
no,
on.
but that's a see, but
Yeah.
that's a great strategy because now when you go onto Facebook, it's intentional with
Hmm.
purpose.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Oh my goodness. So a lot of women and myself, and we kind of mentioned this before we started recording, we're going through the wonderful perimenopause time. Do you incorporate that at all into all of this, or how does that?
Yeah, well, so I'm 58. I'm post. I am
Oh, okay.
post-menopause, but I just found out literally
Lucky.
this year there's so many other things in post-menopause. I don't want to be a
Oh,
downer here, but oh my God. So yes, I have speakers on menopause. I'm going to be bringing more in because of the post-menopause. Like
yeah.
just an FYI, UTIs are a thing in post-menopause.
Really?
It can be a thing. Nobody ever told me about that because I always talked about perimenopause
Yeah.
and menopause, that you can have anxiety can increase and phobias can come and hot flashes
Check,
and
check.
lack of sleep, right? But
Yep.
nobody told me that I could get a UTI and that's a
Wow.
thing. So I have people talking about health and wellness and menopause. There will be a lot more coming in the spring and the summer on that because
Awesome.
I'm experiencing some things. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I know it's a thing. I've had it all. I've had it all. I didn't know perimenopause when I was going through it, and I absolutely was going through it when in my 30s.
Sure.
I can think back to some fears and anxieties I had, like, what is wrong with me? I've never had these fears or anxiety, and yet I never knew anything.
Yeah. Because we didn't talk about it. Nobody talked
No.
about it. And if you go to the doctor, well, it's just menopause. You just got to tough it out. Like,
Yeah, no, that's not
no,
a
you
thing to
don't.
tough it out. I do want to share that this year I made a decision to find a new primary care physician, and
Mm,
I found a woman
mm,
who, and I've had male doctors my whole life. My daughter can't believe it. I'm like, Ellie, there wasn't such a thing. Really, as I grew up, I always had a male doctor.
yeah,
I mean, never. And I made a decision because I didn't feel as if my current primary, who I've been with for decades, and I think he's wonderful. I didn't like his approach with the UTI. I didn't think he took it as serious and something else with blood work. I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to go to a woman. And this
mm,
woman validated my questioning. And
nice.
you were a nurse, right?
Yep, yep,
And
for
you
a long
talk
time.
about on your website about, not to question authority. I question it. If
Yes.
you don't feel right, if your doctor's dismissing a high level of something in your blood work as, oh, but that's normal. No.
Yeah,
And it doesn't feel normal to you, like it's never been high before, it's creeping up. No, that's
yeah,
not normal. And find out how. And this woman said, no, that's a postmenopause thing. It can
right.
creep up your cholesterol. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so we're watching it, but I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt validated. So yes, question. And I'll say this, if you have a doctor that gets offended by your questioning, that's a
Bye.
serious red flag to go find a new doctor.
Definitely. Yes, very good tip. I have always gravitated towards female doctors just because
Yeah.
they've they know what you're going through in some way, shape, or form, or they can have a
Yeah.
better idea.
Yeah.
And not that male doctors are not good and wonder, I mean, I've
Yeah.
known some really great ones, but yeah,
Yeah. No.
especially, and like you said, question, just
Like
question everything.
if you're having a UTI, which is a urinary tract infection,
Hmm.
and it's not going away, and your doctor just keeps prescribing you antibiotic after antibiotic, that is wrong. That
Yeah.
is wrong. I'm all about Western medicine. I'm all about
Hmm.
Eastern medicine. I'm all about combining holistic. But I know that you are not going to keep giving me antibiotic after antibiotic without pausing for a minute and
Yeah.
figuring out what's going on here.
Yeah.
That is not
Why is
something
this
I'm going to
happening?
do. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Same wavelength.
but yeah, it's hard. Hot flashes are hard. Lack of
Yeah.
sleep is very hard and it's very real.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to define your midlife chapter. It doesn't have to. It can be a challenge, it can be a struggle. And I'm
Hmm.
going to throw that, and
And
you can figure things out. Find the people to support you. Find the solutions. They're out there more than ever, Kim. I mean, there's so many resources
yes.
out there, and talk to people and find the solution for yourself, because you can live with menopause and still be okay.
Yeah. Love it. Well, this conversation took a different turn than I
It
thought it
did,
would,
right?
but that's awesome. I love it. So why don't you remind us, where can women find you if they want to learn more and they want to be the mom who dares? Where should we
So
go?
everything is found at jodisilverman.com, and it's Jodi with an I.
Okay.
And even my resource, right on the homepage there, 30 days of doable dares. So if you are feeling stuck in your life somewhere, you're just feeling unfulfilled and stagnant and stuck, and you don't know where to begin, download the 30 days of doable dares. They're doable, simple, because even spending a day smiling at people gets you out of your head, which is, the space that keeps us stuck, and it drops you into your heart outside of yourself. And you'll be amazed at how you start to feel, what people and opportunities show up, how you're looking at things differently through a different lens. So daring is, I believe, the quickest. Stepping out of your comfort zone, trying new things is the quickest way to fulfillment. And it's okay if you try something new and you're like, ugh, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Check it off your list. I just learned something new about myself, right?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. It's like at this point, we get to this point and we're like, okay, well, it didn't work. Okay. The world didn't end. I'm just going to try something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. Moving on.
I
Moving
love
on.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, Joey, I feel like we could just keep talking and chatting all day, but
Well, we are,
we
because
are.
you and I are not finished.
No, we are not. Yeah, we got plans, I think, that we don't even know about yet.
Yeah.
So before we say goodbye to our audience, is there any one last little nugget of information you want to share with them?
Just you are always your children's mom. I'm going to go back to the core of this conversation. You are never not their mom. The way we mom our children grows, evolves, and shifts. The way they need us in their lives grows and shifts, and it's supposed to be that way. So when you're feeling as if they don't need me anymore, stop and say, why am I feeling that way? Get curious about it and understand that your kids don't know what they don't know. They will always need you. They will call you when they need you. Just be there to hold space. Let them grow and watch them and grow alongside of them by focusing on you now and just holding space for when they come to you. You are always the mom. It doesn't go away. It just shifts and changes, and that's okay.
My heart just grew 10 times. All right, Jodi, thank you so much for being with me today. And yes, I know this is just the start of some great things for both of us. So wonderful.
Yes.
All right, you
Thank
take
you.
care. We'll talk to you soon. Listeners, don't forget if you like this episode, please share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of your beautiful self.